Hello.
There we go. Hi there, my name is Laura, and welcome to the Rider Position Fix-It Show, where we discuss riding position topics and share ideas and exercises to help you and your riders. We're pleased to welcome Meredith Gallagher of Carriage Hill Farms today. Hi, Meredith. How are you doing today?
Hello. How are you?
There she is.
Good. I'm doing great. Doing great. I made it.
Yay!
I'm clean. That's a good thing. It was hot outside today, so it took me a minute to get cleaned up, but I made it.
Well, how hot is hot?
I honestly don't know the heat index or any of that, but I know that there was not a dry place on me when I got off the last horse at 11:30. So it was.
How many horses were you on this morning?
I actually only rode 2, but I did one early and then did lessons, and then I jumped on my little thoroughbred horse there at the end of my day. Yeah.
So, Meredith Gallagher, this winter, Meredith has been at the Winter Equestrian Festival, and how's that been going?
It was really good for us this season. I did a quote for one of our articles that we participated in, that it was kind of a building year for us. We had a lot of kids that were either on new mounts or moving up to new divisions. So it was really fun to see everybody actually step up to those new challenges and keep going. So yeah, it was really good winter for us. Unfortunately, it was cut short, but that's how the cookie crumbles a little bit. So
I guess, yeah. So Meredith was raised as an equestrian and competitor. In her junior career, she showed hunters, equitation, and jumpers with her mother, Marylu Gallagher. And currently, she's working at Carriage Hill Farms in Delray Beach, Florida. So today, the hosting and co-hosting with me today is Randy Thompson. Hi, Randy. How are you doing?
Hey, everybody. How are you doing? Looking forward to this exciting show with Meredith again. I know you've created some exercises just for us, Meredith. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah,
no problem. Yeah. I actually set them onto paper. I've used them for a long time, but it kind of was good for me to force me to do it, to sit down and write them down. So.
Getting an echo from you, Meredith. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a little bit going on there with your audio, but that's okay. We're going to push through it. So Randy has been coaching and certifying riding instructors for over 25 years, and she's a horse industry legal consultant and expert witness, and the founder of Jumping Instructors Network. Thank you for joining us, Randy.
Always a pleasure.
Is my sound any better now?
That's better. Yes. What did you do?
Yeah, I didn't do anything really, but whatever the garbling was went away because I could hear it in my headphones as well. So sounds clear
good.
Now I think we're good.
and me, I'm Laura Kelland-May. I am a equestrian candidate, senior judge, hunter, jumper, equitation and hack, senior steward, and competition coach specialist. Now today, Meredith, as Randy said, Meredith's got some great exercise for us. And some of the topics we're going to be going over is the geometry of the jumper course, figuring out and how to ride it, and riding your circles and turns, why it's important for your course, the straight lines on the course, and are they really that important? And then bringing it all together for a winning round. So are you ready to get started, Meredith?
Sure.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So we do. How did you want to start?
Take it away a little bit. Just the basics, I think, are where we wanted to start. This is a concept that I've played with. My joke is geometry is the only math I was ever good at, is because there was a picture. So for me, it became a big part of my riding and teaching because I early on developed or saw that once students understood the basic elements of a course or just riding in general, the success to the jumps got significantly better. It took the guesswork out.
And it's not something, and these aren't new concepts, are they? I mean, it's not something that you have to study a lot for. It's something that most adults and young people can visualize.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's where the drawing of my little exercises came out for me. And I know anyone who has ever taught a child on a pony how to make a circle, it's probably the most frustrating thing you've ever done in your life, because you're like, make a circle. And they make what my mom used to call donuts, the little bitty circles, or that it looks like an egg or a fish or a squiggle. We've come up with all those. So
a bunch of grapes.
Yeah, exactly. So I basically just decided that I needed structure to teach these things, and that's what the whole system of exercises that I've done for you all today should help you with.
Okay, so do you want to show shall I show the?
Yeah, the basic shapes? Sure.
So here's the basic shapes.
Yeah. So a half circle, or a circle, a square, and a half circle. It looks very simple, but anyone who has ever ridden a 20-meter circle or a 20-meter square, or having to go around in a half circle, knows that the first couple of times it never goes the way it looks on this screen right now. But I really teach my students, the first thing you think about is a square. And when you're riding a circle, you put that circle inside the square almost. And imagine that it's a curve that then touches a straight line, and then another curve that touches the straight line for a moment. So that's the biggest thing to make an equal circle for me. So if we want to look at my first exercise that I drew, it's just a circle basically, but.
Okay, let's see if I can get there.
Yep, the basics, yay. There you go. So what I've done there is I've used the, there's several ground rails there. You can use anything you want, really. I've used standards. I've used little brush boxes for kids. One Halloween party, I used pumpkins. But it's the light purple lines that Laura has there are so that
those would be ground rails or something.
Right, those would be ground rails.
You could use pylons or something that you have at your stable, jump standards, something to guide the people, right?
Right. And what I like, the reason I started doing it this way, is I could set that at one end of the ring. So if I'm teaching a group of riders, I can set it at one end of the ring or both ends of the ring, and they can ride as a group. And when you get to the end of the ring, they make a circle and they make a proper one. So, and it's very laid out as the circle inside the square. So you arrive at the first pole, you're looking at the pole all the way to the other side, and then so on and so forth. And it teaches them to carry their eyes all the way around the circle, and then up the long side again. So it was really helpful for the people starting out to have that structure.
And you could make this like a spiral, because you could have a circle inside of the square and a circle outside of the poles, so you can create the spiral feeling, so they can learn more control of where their horse's shoulders and haunches are too. That's a great exercise.
Yeah. Any trainer who's ever had any frustration, I suggest this. Like, it very much takes your guesswork out of teaching the circles.
Right.
And how big is this circle? I mean, I've shown it here in the middle. I like your idea of putting it at one end of the ring, you know?
Right. Yeah. I think it can be really any size that your ring offers or that you want your students to work on. I mean, obviously the classic 20-meter circle from our dressage friends is a good size, I think, to start with. But then you can make it as large or small as you want for the exercise, whatever you're teaching. I think I probably range anywhere from 20 meter to 10-meter circles when I do it. A lot of times I'm just walking it off and trying to make it as square as I can in the moment. So I think the important thing is just that having the guide rails there so that they remember to keep the shape and they're not falling in and falling out. But yeah.
I like that. I exercise, and I kind of do like what Randy was suggesting too. And I'm not sure if you're going to cover this in one of your exercises, but do one in the middle of the poles, one circle on the inside of the poles, one circle on the outside of the poles. So they have to continue to watch and look where they're going, and keep going wherever they're going.
And that's the thing about these, obviously this is very simple, and the next couple shapes are all based off of those same poles. And I think what I like about it is, like you're saying, it's very easy for us trainers to adapt it to whatever level you're teaching. I can pretty much teach 3-hour-long lessons with those 6 poles on the ground, or 7 poles on the ground, just by changing it up, mixing it up. When we do the next picture, it's just the same poles, but now we're riding on the outside and doing the square. So,
Okay, I'm getting those ready here. Oops, I went the wrong. I've got this one. I got to get it showing that.
You were close.
I was close. Oops, I must be missing one. I forgot to put the circle in, maybe.
Okay, that's okay. So anyway, I mean, that's just our basic pattern.
Oh, she can draw right in there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The
So
magic
you go around.
See how well I was taught how to do a circle?
And then, like I said, you can make it a square. So instead of having them go on the circle exactly like that, you can go exactly like that. And teaching a square turn.
I call that the magic square.
The magic square, exactly. And it's really important. I can't stress enough to teach the riders very early on how to do a square turn and a round turn, which is a circle in my opinion. But I think they have to know how to do those two things.
A proper 90-degree angle turn, right?
To get around any course, anywhere for hunters, beginners, the pole classes. They need to be able to go straight to the end of the ring and make that square turn and then make that nice curve to go to the diagonal line.
Which goes back to the riders being taught with this exercise, because the exercise sets it up for them to be able to control. Like they can do a turn on the forehand at the magic square, or they can do a turn on the haunches, which makes such a big difference when you're competing in the hunter or jumper ring. You know, to have the control where you can put the horse's shoulder or haunches where you need it to be, when you want it to be.
When you want it to be. So yeah, there's that. And then our third basic shape that I think is important is that half turn or half circle. Being able to go through and make that nice round shape that then has a nice angle line at the end of it.
So how did that go? Whoopsie. I touched something I shouldn't have. Okay, so that one, how did that go again? Could you?
Yeah, I'll walk you through it if you got your tool. So yeah, we start tracking left. We go around that pole. We make our circle. And now as you come out of the circle, go straight. Yeah, keep going straight. Now make your nice half loop. And then back through the poles at the end. Yeah, and now you circle right. Yeah, just like that. And then do the same again. So you go straight, make your half loop, and then go left and make a circle. I don't know if Michelle, one of my ladies that I teach, will be watching this, but she would have loved to have had Laura here drawing it for her the first time we attempted this exercise.
Well, she had.
It almost looks like doggy ears when I see somebody else draw it like that, like a little doggy. It needs a nose and eyes. Exactly. Exactly.
That's a rabbit.
Yeah, okay, a rabbit. I love it. So yeah, and I think I use that. That's perfect. I use that exercise with everyone. You can be a beginner, you can be a junior jumper kid working on leg yielding, or and then again you can make, like Laura was saying, you can make them go inside the poles for a small circle, or make them go around the poles for a lengthened shot. You can. My ears are doing it again.
Yeah, there are. You're squeaking again.
You might have to go without the earbuds.
Yeah, I might have to go without.
No, Michelle says yes, I'm watching.
Hold on one second. I'm going to get rid of these, hopefully.
Okay. While Meredith is doing that, I just want to welcome everybody. If you're watching live, thank you so much. Our guest today is Meredith Gallagher from Carriage Hill Farms. We'd like to also welcome you if you are watching the replay. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us today. And if you do have questions for any of us here or Meredith, we would love to hear from you, and we will answer things live. And we did have something from April. April says, "Hi, ladies." Hi, April. It's good to see you too. Thank you for the great show. Where's Patty? I miss her. Thank you. We'll pass that on to you. Pass that on to Patty. Yeah, we miss Patty too. Patty's having a busy summer. Okay. So if you can, and if you notice that I'm looking here and looking up. It's just because the camera's up here, and then if I want to see Meredith and Randy, I have to look this way. So that's I'm still paying attention, and we're still going live here. Okay, Meredith, how are you?
I'm good. I think you can hear me, hopefully.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, perfect.
No squeaking. That's good.
Failed, so onward and upward.
Yeah, I might have to speak a little louder though.
Okay.
That
Can you hear me?
I don't know, Randy. What do you do? You hear her all right?
Well, I know where she coaches and stuff, so I'm sure that if she can project her voice better than most of us can on a daily basis, she's doing it. So I don't think that's going to be a problem for Meredith.
Okay. Is this loud enough? Got it. All right. So are we ready to exercise some basics or build on the basics a little bit?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
So what's next?
What's next is my first little exercise there. So basically what I've done is I've taken the circle exercise and doubled it. And then I put a little cavaletti on the inside in between both circles. Yeah, just like that. And there's the thing is, I know if trainers or riders, if you look at this, there are millions of opportunities and things to do. So what I always start with is just like Laura has just drawn, is a circle. And then you go straight down over the cavaletti. Yeah, jump it nice and straight. Go through your next set of guide rails. And then a circle at the other end. Yeah. And then straight ahead through the jump, and then back through your guide rails, and a nice courtesy circle to finish at the end.
Nice.
Perfect. So to me, that's the basic setup for the quarter line single jump, right? We come off the turn, we make our nice courtesy circle, or maybe we go across the diagonal, and then we have a nice straight jump. So you can make this exercise as large or as small as you want. You can make it your entire ring if you want. You could put a line in between the two circles in place of the cavalettis. You can really mix and match it however you want. I usually use it nowadays. I'm not teaching as many smaller kids, so I'm usually doing it with a smaller area to make it a little more complex. So maybe a 15-meter circle or a 10-meter circle, so that you really have to keep it connected and controlled.
So Meredith, what are some of the things that you watch out for when you watch your students going through here, and what corrections would there be? What are some of the things that you see go wrong when the wheels fall off the bus?
When the wheels fall off the bus. I think what I see a lot is they lose control. A lot of times the horses will break. And I don't mean control like they're out of control, but they lose those subtleties. So what it really works is the subtlety, the sitting still, sitting centered, being quiet with your body. And like I said, you can then make it as hard or as simple as like we just did. That's obviously the simplest little pattern you can make. But then you can go back in and you can make them go straight and go across the diagonal and make a circle over the two jumps. So let's do that one if you don't mind, Laura. Like we'll start like that and go to the first cavaletti. Oh, you're gonna make a circle first. Perfect, I love it. And then you go straight to the cavaletti and then turn before the guide rail. Yeah, like that, and jump the other cavaletti. And turn before the next guide rails and jump the cavaletti on the other side. Good, yeah, and then go straight and then make a circle at the other end. Yeah, that's the one I use, I think, the most with my equitation riders, so that their horses are always expecting a direction. Are we going straight or are we turning? And then I try to mix it up. Sometimes we'll only do half the turn like this and then go straight, or vice versa. So
I see.
Yeah.
So really, then you would go this like this. You go like this.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what I like about, again, I'm not so much anymore because I have lots of help nowadays, but when I was younger, I had to set an exercise that would work all day because I didn't like moving the jumps around.
How far apart do you have these guys?
Probably usually around 5 to 8 feet, just depending on how tight I want to make it for the situation. Probably not for the younger variety. I always make it a little wider so they have a little room for the correction. And as they get more advanced, I expect them to be able to direct their horses down the narrower chute. So.
And how about from here to the corner?
Again, it depends on the size of your ring, really. The exercise, I actually used this exercise this morning, and it was actually very, very close to the corner. It was probably 20 feet from the corner, or 15 to 20 feet from the corner.
So I guess also it depends on what, like you say, you did different exercise with your equitation riders versus your hunter riders versus your jumper riders. So, if some people aren't riding straight, you probably put it in a different location than if you need to practice more circling or something.
Correct. I think I sent you a little video of this exercise if you have it.
Okay, just give me a second here and I'll cue it up. And while I'm doing that, maybe we could go on to the next one. Let's just see here. Just stand by while I get it here. Go, Meredith, send a video.
Yeah.
What I like about these exercises that you're sharing also, Meredith, is that they create thinking riders. Once a rider gets to that point where they can actually start thinking instead of just being the robot sitting up on the horses. And these exercises, they have to think, because all of a sudden they come around the corner and they're ready to go in the next direction. And if they're not ready, neither is the horse.
Well, and it's funny because the biggest challenge they face when they first learn these exercises is remembering the pattern I told them.
Right.
It's just 2 circles and it's just 2 jumps.
Right.
But I'm doing left lead circle across the diagonal, right turn, the cavaletti, then right lead circle across the diagonal left. So it becomes complex that way, but I think what it teaches them is to slow down and do things step by step. So
okay, so you have to tell me, is this the correct one?
Yes, that is.
Okay, let's see.
So I set this morning, and I didn't have quite enough rails, so it's not exactly with the guide rails, but it's very close.
So she's cantering straight.
Yeah, and she starts with the left lead circle.
Oh, I can hear you on the video.
Oh, you can.
I can.
I don't think we can.
Good. No.
This is the left lead circle, and then telling her to ride forward to the cavaletti. And then straight on the backside. So then I have the guide rail on the outside, and then the short end of the ring. And then they're coming across the diagonal for the lead change. She leaned in a little there, looked down, so I harped on her for that. And then the right lead circle. Like that. And it just really makes them think about the subtle controls and the
pattern too, right? It takes away
the guess.
They have to focus on the pattern, and so they can concentrate on their riding.
Correct. Exactly. And it's very it's laid out very obviously for them. It's a good map of where they need to go and how they need to get there. So it does, like you said, they can then focus on, am I sitting in the center? Is my heel down? Can I correct the horse's straightness with just my body and not being over dramatic with my hand? And I think, or their hand. And I think that's one of the most difficult, but most important things to do.
Yeah. Having that simple pattern, and it really makes people think about where they have to go next. And everybody meaning the horse and the rider, seems to collect their focus on the job at hand so that they can get it done.
Yeah. And I used to leave, like, my kids usually rode 3 or 4 days a week, and I would leave that exercise in the ring for the probably 2 or sometimes 3 days of that. And they would do something different each day with the same exercise. So they kind of knew the basic pattern, but then I change it up and make it different or more interesting, harder. If the horse is drifting right, maybe we go inside the poles instead of around. You can really use it in any way you want. So that's my number one.
So the exercise we saw in the video is this. Am I sharing it? Is this pattern,
Yeah.
you said you didn't have as many poles out, so
Correct.
you had these inside poles here, I guess. These are the poles you had,
Yeah.
right?
And one end I had the inside poles, and then on the other end I actually put them on the outside so
Oh.
that they have inside them. I just mixed and matched basically.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what that rider was doing was she was doing this circle
Yeah.
and then going across a diagonal
Correct.
for the lead change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, and she jumped.
Oh, she did. She went straight over the jumps too.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, she made a circle and then caught the cavaletti and then went across to get her lead change, made another circle, caught the other cavaletti, and then finished with the lead change. Yep.
Something like that. So
yeah,
I love it.
So, and that's the thing, you can really you can make it as simple. You can leave the circles out. You can put the circles back in. You can make the equitation riders go from guide pole to guide pole and get a simple change. I mean, you can do so much with that exercise. I mean, like I said, I can rinse and repeat it very, very often.
Rinse and repeat. So Kim Condi says, great exercise for dressage riders too. Of course, keep the horse straight, maintain the lead, accurate circle, and the rhythm. My level would do simple change across the diagonal. Love it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Kim, for that comment. Very nice. Catherine says, sorry if I missed it. How many feet apart are the rails for the square?
It's really kind of guesswork. What I used to do originally is I would stand in the middle with the end of my measuring tape and have somebody run around me in a circle, basically as big as I wanted it to be. Sometimes I'm standing in the middle and they're 20 feet away from me and they scuff a circle with their feet, and then we put the poles out. Or a 10-meter circle.
A lunge line would also work, right? You could do that with a lunge line.
Yes, yes.
Or something like that. And okay, so that's how big the circle would be. How about if you were the poles themselves? I think you said between 5 and 8 feet, depending on the horse, on the person.
Yeah.
So there you go, Catherine. It's like a measuring tape or a lunge line, scuff a circle, and put the poles out.
Yep.
That's excellent. Okay, so what's our next diagram here? Let's take a look. Is that the right one, Meredith?
Yes, that's the right one. Perfect. So, and this one's obviously it's a little based off the other one. But it looks a little small on the screen there, but what I want everyone to imagine or remember is that 90% of you have this exercise set in your ring right now. It is the in of an outside line, roll back to the diagonal, and then to the in of the other outside line and roll back to the diagonal. Anybody who teaches hunter riders regularly is almost guaranteed to have that in their ring at some point.
Okay, so walk me through it and I'll draw it.
Yep. Okay, so we go to the outside, probably the vertical down here on the bottom.
Off the left rein or right rein?
Either way, doesn't matter. Yeah, perfect. So we go straight through our guide rails, around our marker to not cut the corner, then a little oxer across the diagonal. Yep. Straight ahead. We can make it through the guide rails. Sometimes they have to go around the guide rails there. It just depends on how your ring is set. Then across straight ahead. Yep. Down the outside. Around our marker at the end and across the diagonal. Perfect. Just like
I guess too, depending on the size of your ring and that type of thing, maybe you do that. I don't know.
Yeah. And it depends on how you set it, really. Or if it's like the video of this one that I have, I was being lazy and I was using the ins and out of the lines because it was set. But I used to at home, I had a small round ring. And I would do it where I just put the 4 jumps in the middle of the ring. Or on other days, if I was teaching small kids, I would actually just gut the out of the line. Take the jump out, leave the standards. So they had those as markers. So again, it's just, you can see it. It's a basic hunter course. but with the one jump, and the focus is not on the jumps, it's on the turns. So I called this exercise exercising the turns. I want you to think about how you go straight from the corner, how you use the diagonal line. And if Laura, if you'll draw from, if you go right lead to the vertical and then across to the other vertical on the diagonal, you guys are going to see a shape, a basic shape from our beginning. So there it is. What's that basic shape that everybody sees?
I know. Let's see. Does anybody have the answer?
Yeah. Does anybody have the answer out there?
So
okay.
yeah, so I mean, I could even make it more exaggerated here. You know, it's straight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Correct. And then it's your half circle. So every hunter course has that shape in it repeated.
It's
So,
repeated. Exactly. It's repeated.
repeated. Exactly. So that to me is where you start. That's where I would teach. If I was going to teach somebody from the beginning to do a course, this is how I would do it. I think it's more important to learn about the turn than getting down the lines or doing the numbers. I find a lot of trainers will focus on that, and I understand it. You're trying to get those people to the horse show so that we can make a living. That's part of it, but they really need to understand how to make a turn and get straight to the jump before they need to worry about getting down the line in the number or getting the lead change. Even do the simple changes, but make the priority that they land, go straight, do a simple change, make the turn, and be straight again across the diagonal. So
that's true, because if you aren't riding the pattern properly and your horse isn't balanced, you're going to miss anyway.
Correct. And you just hit the nail on the head to me. That is where this whole concept came when I really started riding and teaching, is that if you do the turn properly, you're more than halfway there for yourself. You need to look here, look up, look down, look right, look left. No, make the turn square, perpendicular to the jump. That's the secret. I had a student who, when I first came to Carriage Hill, after about a year of riding with me, I would say, so what do you think happened there? And she would say, I'm willing to bet I was not perpendicular, because I said it so much that I was like, okay, yeah, you're correct. You weren't straight. So, yeah.
And that goes back to that square that you introduced at the beginning, at the basics. That's that perpendicular. You have to get your horse perpendicular. That's right.
From back to front, all the way. So then, I mean, obviously, if you look at the exercise again, it's very simple to, okay, now I'm going to teach somebody that's a little more advanced how to do a rollback turn. So you take the guide rails out, or maybe you make them closer to the jump, or you can do lots of different things. Or if they're far enough away from the jump, you tell them to turn inside the guide pole. But you come straight and you do one, roll back to the other, patient in the turns. Yeah, just like that.
Except for this should be straight.
Yes, it should be perpendicular.
Straight and perpendicular. So that's your...
Yeah.
And then your half circle type thing.
Yeah, and then your half circle. Good. And
oh, wait a minute. You said something there. It should be perpendicular.
Mm-hmm.
Perpendicular to this?
Yeah, to the purple jump, to your jump. Yeah. And then you turn... and then you turn right, and then you end up perpendicular there. Yep. And then you straight, and you turn left, and you're perpendicular to the other jump on the outside. And I love how you did that, Laura, because that's exactly how I would do it. Is I'd give them one rollback turn and then a long round turn and then another rollback turn if I was teaching someone from the basics. Yeah. So I think we have a video of this one too, if we want to watch. It's a little, like I said, it was I used the ends of the lines, and I was working with an equitation rider. That's doing the Taylor Harris and the 3-3 medals. So it's an example of this little pattern, and then at the end it has a bending line. But
is this the right one?
It is. You got it. There you go.
Okay, so is this at a horse show? This is a schooling?
Carriage Hill Farms. This is
Okay.
Yep.
So she's going straight
She's
down the.
Diagonal. Yep.
Oh,
And then she's
turning
rolling
right. Oh, okay.
the outside. So you can do it, however you'd like. And then she rolls back to an oxer on the diagonal. Just like this. And then she turns left inside of the jumps at the end.
Okay.
And then in this case, there's a 2-stride over there. So the little 2-stride. And to finish this kids exercise, we canter down to our logs at the end of the ring. Just like that. So that's like how.
Was that today, Meredith?
Actually, this was last week. Yeah.
And so you were getting prepared for a class. Is this one like a preparation exercise for the class that for a show, I should say?
Yeah, for sure. We're going to hopefully go to Venice, or going to Venice, the 15th. So I have a few kids that when I got home from Tryon, that we sort of started preparations for that. And we always mix it up. We have a day we work on the flat. We have a day we do more exercise type things, and then a day or maybe 2 that we do full courses. So we started that day, and we actually, you can't quite see it in the video, but in the first rollback turn, when she jumps the diagonal jump and turns right.
Yes, I noticed that.
There are poles in the turn. So what I was making them focus on is actually riding the rollback really accurately. So
Wait a minute. I'm watching it. Am I sharing it?
No.
Okay. I was going, okay, yeah, you can see them right there.
Yeah.
All right. So let me share that again.
Yeah.
Sometimes
So
I forget.
There's poles set in the turn, and that this is an advanced use of this exercise where she then has to look and ride that pole in 3 strides, and then 2 strides to the next pole, and then 4 strides to the jump. So
Okay. So can we see the poles here?
you should be able to. You can see the horse kind of step over them. They're a little.
Is this one here?
Yeah, but we don't actually jump that one. I don't think they look like that. We go just inside that one. So she jumps the jump, and when she turns right, 1, 2, whoop, keep going, 3, 4, and she steps over a pole there, and then 1, 2, there it is.
Oh, I see this one.
Yeah. And
Okay,
then,
so there's a pole also here somewhere.
Yep. And then 1, 2, yeah, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I was specifically working on here with Madison is that she sometimes will get a little worried that she won't get the lead change, and she actually makes the rollback turn too wide. And then more often than not, it didn't help her, and she might miss the lead change anyway because the horse is a little unsure of where she's going. So that's where we made this exercise a little complex, and we were working on jumping the jump with that intention of turning right. And when she did that, lo and behold, guess what? He knew where he was going, and he landed on the lead.
Amazing when that happens, right?
Yeah. So like I said, it's just 4 single jumps, or in like this case, I have the 2-stride. But you can, again, spend all day coming up with different combinations and doing it in different ways to practice that specific hunter course, riding a whole hunter course for a hunter, or working on the rollback turns for an equitation rider.
Excellent. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we do next?
What do we do next? Next we have, I think, my 3rd little exercise. And actually, I can't take credit for this one. I wanted to, but we'll have to actually.
Okay, so I have it called exercise 2B with the trot rails or something at the end.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the same. That's the same exercise, the same pattern of jumps we have there. Okay, yeah, we can talk about that one. Let's do that.
Okay. All right, let me just show that one now.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And they're actually, I think there's actually supposed to be 3, and they're cavalettis, so they're like a bounce to a bounce.
What's here? I mean, what's bounce? These guys?
That one's actually.
So I don't have it in there, right? This is a bounce?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a bounce to a bounce.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought it was trot rails.
You could do it with trot rails if you wanted. You just have to trot them.
Okay, so everybody knows this is a bounce. So this is going to be how far apart?
Between probably 10 and 11 feet, or if you have a particularly short-strided one, maybe a little smaller, but I would usually in that range. Correct.
Okay, and
Right.
then the distance between the two bounces?
No, there is no, that's not, there's only 3 jumps.
Oh, so this one isn't even there.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, let me just clear that. So this is 10,
Yeah.
11,
Yeah, 10 to 11 feet, yep.
and this is also 10 to 11, and this one is a mistake.
Got it.
Perfect.
We're back. So this one is I love this. This is my rhythm exercise. And I use this with so many riders. And it's basically the same concept that we've been talking about for all the last few exercises. You would pick up the canter, maybe right lead. So
Okay.
we'll go through the bounces at the end. So we pick up a nice right lead canter and we let the bounces set our rhythm.
So we pick up the right lead canter.
Yep. And
Bounce.
then we'll say we're going to go to that diagonal vertical there. So then you just bend, to your diagonal vertical, roll back to your oxer on the left, or go all the way to the end, whichever works. Good. And now you have to go back through the bounce. So you reset the rhythm back through the bounce, and then you go maybe to the other diagonal oxer. Yeah. And then you roll back to the right. And you jump your single on the outside. And then you have to go through your bounces to finish. Correct. So and I wish I had a video of this one, but I don't. But what I love about this is for a lot of riders, keeping the rhythm the same throughout the course is very hard. Or for the horses themselves, you have to move up the first line to get down it. And then by the end, you're woeing and you are like, oh my gosh, I'm getting down the line too early. So for me, this is a great frame of reference, because if the horses build, the bounce teaches the kids that, oh, my horse is going faster. Because the subtlety of it you can't feel, but if they get into the bounce with their strides too long, then it's rough and it's a bit of a struggle. So it really teaches them how to start with one rhythm, jump a second jump, and then find that exact same rhythm again to step through the bounce quietly. And it makes them think about their steering as well. But for me, it's essential. And I'll do it with all the different levels. As soon as, you're comfortable letting them jump a bounce. We do it with everybody. I'll do it with my jumper kids and have them start, then practice speed turns, but then always have their horses back to step through the bounce quietly.
So what are some of the techniques other than the jumps, of course, for teaching the riders rhythm? Because it's more than just the distance between the jumps. They have to keep a consistent rhythm when they're not going over the jumps. So how are you teaching them how to keep it consistent all the way through the course, including the flat?
Yeah. Like I said, this exercise always seems to help with it, sort of get them to mentally understand it. I think for me, it's very much about feeling the canter. A lot of people teach them to count, like I was taught to count 1, 2. At Carriage Hill, the riders are taught just to count out loud 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's lots of different ways you can sing. Those things are all there for you, and I think they work. But for me, they need to feel that rhythm. If you're not sitting and feeling that, then they can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. You can have to calm down and feel it and count it out with your horse's rhythm. So that's why I like the bounce, because it exaggerates that 1, 2, 3, and then they sync, and then you count that same rhythm or not. Just be silent and feel your horse's canter. But to me, it's feeling it through the seat bones that really gets it through to them.
So what about those people who have horses who are rushing and running that are having difficulty with their rhythm? How would you improve that? How I'm thinking about people maybe who are schooling, retraining the thoroughbreds who really rush through the bounces.
Yeah. My big thoroughbred horse that I had a few years ago, I actually had, he was very large. He was 17.2, huge strided. And for him to understand the bounces, I actually had to make them a little long. So whereas like those are, I said 10, no more than 11 feet. With him, I actually made them 12, 12 and a half. And I'm not saying that's for everybody and that obviously do this with the professionals' help, but you really want to learn the horse's stride. But I would start with them a little long, and then I would gradually move them in throughout the schooling session. So I give him that room to go forward and teach him to melt back, and then slowly but surely teach him to practice stride.
So if your rule of thumb, you're saying 10 to 11. So if you have a horse that's rushing a bit, you would put it out to 12 foot or something like that?
Yeah. I don't know that I would put it all the way out to 12 feet, but maybe I'd move it out 4 inches or so.
So 11 and a half or something like that?
Yeah, just and not to encourage them to go faster, but for me that was his rush was that he couldn't get his legs out of the way fast enough. So it wasn't his natural rhythm yet. So obviously I think the flat work and the circles, the first exercise that we talked about with the circle and the one rail, to me that's where I would actually start with one that's rushing, is you make a circle and you jump the cavaletti and you make another circle. And you jump the cavaletti and you make another circle and you jump the cavaletti. And so you do that until they understand that that's all that's being asked of them. And if I remember correctly, I actually had that set in my ring, but instead of the cavaletti, it was a bounce. So I did the bounce and then I made the circle, and then I did the bounce and then I made the circle, until it's just patience. I mean, with the young horses, that's really what it is.
Okay, so then we have this one here.
Yeah, and that's
one. The same one but without the bounces.
Yeah, that's the one we've been talking about. They were all kind of, I kind of sent them to you grouped, so but they're not quite. They're all a little separate, so we don't have to go over this one again. I think we pretty much
we've pretty much covered that one.
Yeah.
Somebody did want to see again. Colleen wanted to see the course back on the screen. Can I put the course back on the screen? Which one was the course, Colleen?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Which, she mean the video or she mean the...
this one?
This, maybe? Yeah.
Is that the one? Is that the one, Colleen, you wanted?
Might be.
That kind of looks like a course. Stacy says, Stacy, I love this. My leggy gelding is a bit like a dorky teenage boy with legs everywhere. Can't wait to try this. I would love to see a video of that, Stacy. Please send it to us. We'd love to see that. Okay, so what is the next exercise? Let me just get that for you.
Yeah, I think we have maybe one more that...
We've got this one, which is similar to what we just discussed, but the jumps are taken away.
Yeah, kind of different options to play with. Yeah, that's our last one.
It looks like a lot of jumps.
Yeah, so like I said, I can't take credit for designing this one. I actually have to give props to Haley Ionati for designing this last year at Tryon. And we actually built this in a warm-up area on an off day. And it's really just a simple way to do multiple different courses. And you can do it for different levels of riders. In my diagrams I drew, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but the 3 in a row over there can be anything from 1 stride to 3 strides. So yeah, whatever you'd like it to be. Yeah. And then you can walk those bending lines. Yep. To whatever distance. Is this the only one you have, or do you have any of the ones with courses on it, or no? Because we don't. Okay, so this is the only diagram of that one you have. Okay, so why don't we just do, with this one, why don't we do a little course? I'll just tell you where to go maybe so they can see the
Sure.
pattern.
So, yeah, I just put this here, and
Yeah.
I figured that we could just draw I could just draw the things in as you were talking about them, because it was the same setup.
Yeah. Yep, same setup.
So these three, you could have 1 stride to 3 strides in between. So that's 24 feet to 36,
Yeah.
48.
48, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it could be a 1 to a 1, a 2 to a 2, or a 3 to a 3, however you'd like to do it. So we'll do a little hunter course. So if I was teaching a beginner with this exercise, this is what I would do. I would go left lead to the single at the bottom there. Yep. And then I'd go around the in of the outside line to the diagonal single. So in this exercise, it would be set for a 3 to a 3 so that it would give them room.
So you go on the outside of that one?
Yep, I go on the outside, and it would create a chute for them to have to be very straight. And then you turn right and you go down your 3 to your 3, just simple rhythm exercise, holding your position. Then you would finish by going to the first jump you jumped the other way. Yeah. And then the same thing, go around the in of the outside line to the diagonal single to finish. So if you notice there in your little, in all the hunter courses, mostly the beginner classes, there is a long ride to the single oxer.
That is such a horrible thing to have to ride. The long run to a single oxer at the end of a diagonal.
Everybody gets nervous about doing that. So
am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? Am I going to make it?
Exactly. So what I like about this exercise is making them go around the jump. Like I said, it really makes them have a straight path. And then you focus on keeping and maintaining that rhythm and being simple about it and keeping it simple. So I know we are getting a little close to the end of our time. And I think my third video is actually me on my little thoroughbred project horse that we're working on. He's getting ready to go to his first horse show. So I can show you what I did with him.
I didn't get that one.
The third one?
It didn't come through, Meredith. Sorry about that. But I wanted to, you had some really other interesting.
We can just go do the other part.
With this, I mean, I like that you had this exercise.
Yep. Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I got a little lost in the shuffle here. Yeah, so you can start with this exercise by I always come off either the left or the right short turn. So whichever way you'd like to start, and jump 1 diagonal jump. Yeah, and bend right. And then keep going right, actually. Yeah, and then you'd go up the straight line.
Oops. Okay.
Oops. Yep. No, you don't have to jump the jump.
Oh.
Just around it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And then just up the straight line. Yeah. And then right to the bending line again. So you can, that's the shape I want. So you can repeat that like that. Okay. So let's call that center to center, Laura. We can, perfect like that. And then do you have a different color?
No, sorry.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Well, we can do the same. So
I don't
basically,
think so. No. Tools, color.
Yay.
Okay,
Perfect.
try that.
Try that. All right. So now what I want is the same basic thing, but with your blue, turn a little sooner than you did your red, and make the track a little wider. Or actually, come off your right lead, sorry. Just like we were doing with the red, yeah. Like all the way up the long side. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now turn a little sooner. Good. And then go wider than the red. Yeah, and then turn back a little steeper. Yeah, like that. Jump it a little like that. And then turn right again. All right. So it's a little bit, yeah, like that. Yes, there you go. Okay, so those to me will do that. What I wanted to focus on when I drew this exercise is that you can use those same 2 jumps, but you can change the rider's track to change the number of strides. So again, without them going faster or slower, you change how they turn to the jump. So on the red track, it's very perpendicular, center to center. And then on the second track, you would actually turn earlier and jump your jump a little to the left, push your horse out with your right leg, and then jump it a little bit back to the right. So it gives you the space without having to change the rhythm. Yeah.
So would that be kind of like if you were teaching people to go in your a jump off, or jumping at angles? That to me, we were talking about even meeting your jump perpendicular. So, but that last exercise, it kind of looks like you're introducing jumping at an angle.
Right. We're introducing changing it a little bit like that, so that we're introducing that in the bending lines. So we'll say if the red track is a 6, then it would be then you jump the jump on a little bit of angle and go out, and then that makes it a 7. So
okay. Yep. Got it. Interesting. So there's a lot of other things you could do too, I guess, with that.
Yeah, there's a lot. And this whole course, like we originally built it for equitation riders, and it was a 1-to-1, and you can do so much with it. We might have time to get one more in. If you want to go left lead to the single on the bottom.
Left lead single to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. Left lead single to the bottom.
Got it.
The other left.
Yeah.
I need those.
And then roll back. So inside or around that jump, because you're kind of around it now. There you go. Inside that jump to the diagonal single. Okay. And then we'll go down the outside line. Perfect. Okay. And now we'll go to the diagonal and bend to the out of the outside line. So going straight ahead and then bending to the out. Yep. And then now we'll go to the diagonal again and bend to the other out of the other line. Good. And then you could continue and finish right lead to the jump you started with.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jumps. But you are doing a full course, kind of a difficult course.
Yeah. And that's the inspiration for it came from needing to do as much as we could in a warm-up area. And we only have warm-up jumps. So you only have, 6 sets of standards. So that's what we came up with. That's what Haley came up with. I give her complete credit. Haley kind of naughty.
Yay.
These are really good. Okay, so then we have, I'm going to close that. So this is a sample jump.
Yeah, that's our sample course. We have time to keep going?
You got 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, 2 minutes.
Oh, we might give you 3.
3. Okay. So then obviously we kind of ran a little short on time today, but I just wanted to kind of go over some courses and map out those little patterns for you. So if we start with our right lead single there, follow the arrows. We go straight, and we make our nice big half loop to the diagonal line. Yep, down the middle. And then here's where I'd want you to think about your square, a little more square turn, to the outside line. And going straight ahead. And again, here's where you want to practice that square from the beginning. Maybe get your lead changed. Then another, then you come back across the diagonal. Patient, stay out. Nice half turn back to the square, a little square turn here, straight ahead. And you're done. So that's kind of all I wanted to show, is that there are those bases, there's 3 basic patterns: the circle, the square, and the half turn, and you'll see them repeated over and over and over.
All right, this one.
I love those courses.
So then we have the one more little one here. It's difficult to see. It's the same thing though, right? It's like you say,
Yeah.
it's
This one starts with a bending line. And
yeah.
Then, yeah. And then I would focus on them being, that's that rollback turn that we practiced with our second exercise. Yep. To the 3/8.
Whoops, I overdid it. I wasn't looking where I was going.
So there's that nice rollback turn, sit up, and then the bending lines, which we only briefly got to talk about, but to 4. Yeah.
That's supposed to be over top of the jump, by the way.
Then again, you roll back to 5. The same again, the bending line that we practiced in our last exercise. Then a long way around. Correct. A little, but that's all that I really think riders need to see, is that it's those same shapes repeated over and over and over again. And if you can program them into your mind through those exercises, you're going to be well on your way to being more accurate.
Very, very good. So when you really just break down to it, it's a circle, a straight line, and a square.
Yeah. The half turn, the half circle, the circle, and the straight line or the square. Yeah. But those are the 3 basics for sure.
Okay, Nancy says thank you. You're welcome, Nancy. Really good. And Michelle says it's very helpful to see the diagrams. Great show. Well, thank you so much. I'd like to welcome you back next week, Michelle. We're here every week. So thank you, Meredith. Where are you off to next week?
We head to Foxley Farms in Venice, Florida for 2 back-to-back summer fun horse shows.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Meredith while we're here? Please ask them. And if we don't get them to them today, we'll follow up with you on our Facebook page or YouTube page, whichever one you're commenting on. I'd like to thank you so much, Meredith, for taking your time. I know that you were busy today, but this has been really helpful. It's been helpful to see and able to help the other people. I think also having the videos helped to see how well they worked, and also being able to draw them and that kind of that visual really helps people as well.
Yeah, it really does. And even me teaching it helps to see it on paper for sure.
And I'd like to welcome everybody back next week. What's the date next week? Set the 15th, the Rider Position Fix-It show. Again next week. I haven't confirmed anybody yet, but we will be having somebody special, I'm sure. So make sure you're around for that. Friday is the Jumping Instructors Live. And Randy, who do you have special showing up for Jumping Instructors Live?
We have Robert Blanchett. He's an international Grand Prix rider.
Can you hear her?
Do you know Robert Blanchard? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was talking about Meredith. She couldn't hear me. And teacher who has written and coached on the
I can't hear anybody. Can you guys hear
You can't hear anybody?
I can hear you, Laura, but I can't hear Randy.
Oh.
Oh,
Right.
that's weird. Well, I can hear Randy.
Perfect.
And he's going to be sharing his training exercises and topics with us. So we look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Yes, Friday at 1 p.m. on Jumping Instructors Live, Jumping Instructors Network. Jessica says, my students better be ready for these. Yes, Jessica, they're going to be ready. Stacy says, can we have the setup diagrams in the comments later? Yeah, we can post them there. Is that okay, Meredith, if we post those things that I made up? Sure, then you can draw them out. That's excellent. Excellent idea. We will post those in the comments a little later today. Thank you so much, Randy. Thank you so much, Meredith. And this is the Jumping Instructors Network. Thank you so much for hosting us here in the Jumping Instructors Network. And we shall see you Friday for Robert Blanchard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye now.